The decision to prosecute and to go for the murder charge was up to Dallas County District Attorney Faith Johnson. Did anybody at any point during this process say, you're anti-cop because you filed a murder charge, not something less serious?
No one ever said I was anti-cop. The police department understood that I support the police. I support good cops. I just don't support bad cops. And my position was I wanted to make certain that Dallas County knew that I was committed to justice and fairness for everybody, regardless of who you are. And I think even my own staff said, hey, we never done it that way.
Yeah.
We've always gone to the grand jury on a police shooting. We never arrested a police officer. We would wait 6 months or a year before the case actually was presented to the grand jury. I said, but just because we always had done it that way doesn't mean we had to continue to do it that way.
Did it make a difference in your decision process that the police chief immediately, almost immediately, fired this officer?
No, I wasn't really considering whether or not he did or did not. My focus was the fact of the investigation that we were able to do, because remember, we have our public integrity unit. We do our own independent investigation. And based on that independent investigation, we were able to determine, no, this is murder, and we're going forward with murder.
There was the option for the jury of a lesser, a manslaughter,
Yes.
an aggravated assault by a peace officer,
Yes.
something like that, which would have been an easy out for the jury.
Yes, it
They
would
didn't,
have been.
They didn't take it.
They didn't take that option. They found him guilty of murder, and to me, that's very historic. That's very important, and I'm hoping that the people in Dallas County throughout, and obviously people are looking at it throughout the country and throughout the world, because there's been so many families who have gone to court just like this case, and the verdict was different. It was a not guilty, and we got a guilty. Now, we would love to have gotten more time. We have 15 years, and it's still 15 years on murder. They could have found sudden passion and punishment, and they did not do that. So we never debate with the jury on their findings. We respect their verdict. Yes, we're disappointed to the extent that we wanted more time,
Right.
but the verdict of guilty for murder was significant.
Did certainly the body camera and the dash camera footage, which told the story, if there are no witnesses, there are witnesses, electronic witnesses now to many of these incidents,
Yes.
which had to make a huge difference for the jury.
Yes, obviously that, and really we had a team of 7 people. Mike Snipes was my lead prosecutor on the case. Obviously I was involved in the case. I don't know, I also presented punishment arguments, and I took a couple of witnesses, but we had a great team of prosecutors from the beginning to end. And I'm telling you, my prosecutors worked overtime. We were committed to justice on behalf of Jordan Edwards and this family, and we worked it. We worked hard. We worked 12 hours a day, sometimes 16 hours a day, because we were committed to make certain that they got their justice in their day in court.
Was this officer, former officer, a bad cop from the get-go? That's something you sought to show during the sentencing, that this was somebody who should not have had a badge.
That's exactly right. We brought a psychologist who said that, who reviewed his assessment before he was hired with Box Spring Police Department, and he made the determination that he never should have been a police officer. We had Facebook pages that we entered into evidence that showed that he was one of those cops that say, hey, I love killing. And he had that on his Facebook page. So, so all of that information was presented to the jury. And obviously he had character witnesses that came down during punishment. He had his wife, he had his mom. So all of that played a part in the jury trying to decide what is the right punishment. So from their perspective, they decided we're not going to argue with their decision. However, we obviously would have wanted more. That didn't happen.
There is frequently in cases like this something called the blue wall of silence, or the honor code among police officers, that one will not testify against the other. In this case, the other officer, that Oliver claimed he was saving this officer's life by shooting into the car. That other officer said, I never felt in danger.
He never felt in fear, in danger. He never pulled his gun. He never shot his gun. Obviously, Oliver proceeded to say, but from my perspective, I thought he was in danger.
They were looking at it from 2 different angles, physical angles.
And because he was the defendant, we really did have to look at it from his position. However, We presented so much evidence to show it doesn't matter what you thought. It wasn't reasonable. We had people who testified it was unreasonable for you to shoot into that vehicle. 5 teenage boys were in that vehicle, and we could have had 5 deaths, and we only had 1. And that's is unfortunate. So my heart goes out to the Jordan Edwards family, and they've been great. We have just loved the idea that we've been here for them, and we put our all in it. So that is something that we really are grateful about.
Very briefly, there are some people that I've heard from, and you've probably heard from, who've said, second guessing a police officer in a stressful time is not something you want to do. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Well, that's exactly what's been happening throughout the country. That has been the position, and that's why we have had not guilty throughout the country, because those juries did just that. Don't second guess the officer. And that is one of the reasons why I think you've had so many not guilties throughout the country. But we presented a strong case, we had a great team, and we were able to secure a guilty verdict for murder, not manslaughter or anything else, but murder. And so we are very excited about that.
All right. Dallas County DA Faith Johnson, thank you very much.
Thank you.